Resurgent India Knowledge Series presents live webinar on affordable housing in India, challenges and opportunities. Moderator Ms. Sonal Mahta, Senior Vice President, Resurgent India Limited. Special guest speaker Shri Sanjay R. Bhusreddy IS, retired, Chairman, Uttar Pradesh Real Estate Regulatory Authority. Eminent speakers Mr. Pranay Kumar, Executive Director, REPL. Dr. Vinu Singhal, Chief Operating Officer, GARS Group. Mr. Kunal Bahrani, COO, Unity Group.
Hi, good evening, everyone. That's Sonal Mehta from Resurgent India, and I would like to welcome you all for this important session on affordable housing, its challenges and opportunities. So, first of all, we have to first understand about affordable housing. Hota kya hai? We hear a lot about affordable housing projects, developers doing affordable housing projects, buyers looking for affordable housing project. लेकिन affordable housing की definition क्या है? So, according to the definition of the government, when you talk about affordable housing properties are those properties with an area not more than 60 square meter and the price capped to 65 lakhs. Although there are a lot of initiatives which have been taken by the government to promote affordable housing projects in India, and the recent one that we're talking about is, where they have been giving a guarantee of affordable housing or housing schemes for all, which was introduced by PM Narendra Modi in 2015. But still, there are certain challenges which a developers and the end buyers face when you're talking about affordable housing projects. For example, the high cost of affordable housing projects due to the increased cost of the raw material and the ever increasing price of the land, the affordable housing project is no more affordable. So either, we need to think about increasing the cap or reducing on the land prices. So there needs to be discussion on those where we need to take that forward. And then lack of easy access to finance, both for the buyers and for the developers. And then there is a delay in the projects by the developers. Sometimes, there are delayed in the projects because of which the end customer takes a hit. So, with these brief discussions, I would like and take this opportunity to start this discussion with our eminent speakers. I would take 1 or 2 minutes to briefly introduce our eminent speakers, and then we can take this discussion forward. To begin with, I would first of all like to introduce Sanjay sir, who is the chairman of UP REDA. And apart from being the chairman of UP REDA, Sanjay ji has held up a lot of important positions in the past, also leadership roles in the past with regulatory administration, with development administration, district administration, staff administration, corporate administration, and he has also been the chief vigilance officer of MMTC in the past. The recent initiative, which was taken up by UP REDA under Sanjay ji's leadership, was in January this year, where, although there were guidelines in the REDA that, probably till your sale agreement is signed, you can't take more than 10% of advance from the developer, from the end buyer. But some of the times it was not implemented. So this initiative was taken by UP REDA, where they had taken a call and, initiative where it was mandatory that unless and until your sale agreements are signed, no developer is allowed to take more than 10% advance. So I think it's a big relief for a lot of home buyers today. So thank you so much, Sanjay sir, for joining the session. And it's an honor for us to have you in this session with us today. And I'm sure, your thoughts will be really helpful for the audience overall. Thank you so much for joining the session, sir. Next, I would like to introduce Dr. Vinu Singhal. So, Dr. Vinu Singhal is the CEO of Gorsons India. So, Veenuji has been a very respected woman in the leadership roles in the real estate sector with over 20 years of extensive experience. She is a chartered accountant, a company secretary, and a member of the Bar Council. Dr. Singhal holds a PhD in finance and has played a pivotal advisory role across various verticals in real estate and business development. Her expertise has been instrumental in driving significant growth within the sector. Uh, Welcome, Veenu ma'am. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Our next speaker is Mr. Kunal Behrani. So Kunal ji is the CEO with Unity Group, and he is also a multifaceted leader who has worked in various sectors, including real estate, automobile, retail, and verticals and horizontal transportations. And his recent role, when he's talking about in Unity, he has developed a beautiful project which is in Karol Bagh for them. So he worked really hard on that project, and that's one of the biggest projects for the Unity Group in the residential sector till now. So welcome, Kunal sir. It will be very interesting to have you here and have your thoughts, sir.
Thank you.
And then our next speaker is Mr. Pranay Kumar. So Pranay ji is the executive director with REPL. So he has more than 35 years of experience in project management, construction management, cost management, financial management, and management consulting in various sectors. He has managed various types of projects in real estate, mixed use development, residential, and commercial. Transportations may he's looked into highways, railways, ports, metro. Industrial, he's done a lot of work in steel and cement textile. So he has instrumental in adopting of new construction technology at construction sites. So welcome, Pranay sir. It's a pleasure for us to have you here. And I am really looking forward to this session with all these eminent speakers today. So I would like to start this discussion with Sanjay sir. Sanjay sir, can you please take us forward on your thoughts on this sector and what do you think is the future for affordable housing today?
Good afternoon. This is a very interesting and contemporary issue which is being faced by our citizens across the country, irrespective of the states. Definitely, some states the problem is more chronic or more acute, if I would say, like where metros have come up, UP, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and so on and so forth. Typically, house to be affordable, its financial outflow towards rentals or monthly EMI should not exceed 30 to 35% of the household income, or the cost of the house is up to 5 times of the household's gross annual income, because some portion only a person can attribute or assign to buy a house. But he can't buy an affordable house if his income is per annum 12 lakhs and he is planning to buy a house of 45 lakhs or 50 lakhs. So we have to see on these lines. MoHUA has recently said that only 10% of the current housing supply is affordable in India. That is the supply. So which means what? It means that very fewer options are available for buyers with lower income groups. And this practically I see many poor people, class 3, class 4, especially class 4 daily wage workers, per people running some small carts on roads. They come and they ask for affordable EWS or such type of housing, and it's very difficult to get them a proper, decent one bedroom, one living room, one kitchen type of like we call a studio apartment for them in a decent area. And there is a challenge of connectivity. There is a challenge. How far can he go from his workplace or her workplace? because both the husband and wife these days they are working, so they may be going very far off places. So it has to be near to their workplace. Now, near to their workplace means there the land may be very expensive. So the builder may find it very difficult to develop it at that cost. So these are some of the challenges. It's both challenge and at the same time for the industry, it's an opportunity also how to address it. If we can come up with some technological
Solution.
solutions
Hmm.
or construct a type of house where I was watching on television and even in America, people are trying to come up with plug and play type of houses. Uh,
Okay.
uh, since 2011, what one of the reports, Knight Frank India reports, had said that only 11% of the total private equity has come in the residential market. So there are challenges of fund flow into the sector. Banks have their own constraints. We keep talking to bank, and we had two state level bankers committee in which we had put this as an agenda to them that why don't you come to us for business. All
Hmm.
their senior executive directors and managing directors of nationalized banks, they come to us, please give us business, please give us RERA accounts and so on and so forth. I tell them, why don't you go and talk to, and we provided them a list of promoters and along with their projects, because only promoter
Hmm.
would mean nothing, along with their projects which required funds, which required loans or fund flow into that project. Some of the bankers had approached. In very few it clicked, but we are happy
Okay.
that at least in few it clicked out of some more than 5-6 dozen projects. So these are the challenges which are there now.
Sir,
As per
any specific reason for not getting clicked? मतलब from a banker's perspective, क्या challenge आता?
as some of them are legacy projects, or many of them are legacy projects which got stalled because of the land acquisition problem which started in 2011-13, farmers
Hmm.
agitation and stuff like that. So they got delayed, so their economics have slightly got skewed. So therefore the
Hmm.
bankers are also
Okay.
slightly skeptical. Now, according to our census data, 1.7 million homeless people are there who are in dire need of affordable housing. And
Hmm.
according to some research, the housing shortage had risen from around 19 million in 2012 to 29 million in 2018. And it would increase manifold because the magnet of urbanization, nobody can stop. So people
Hmm.
get drawn from rural, semi-rural areas to urban areas to in search of jobs, in search of better jobs, in search of white collar jobs. Nowadays, people are getting educated. IT companies are coming, but unfortunately, they are coming in metros, Lucknow, Noida, Gautam Buddha Nagar, Gurgaon. So they are coming. So
True.
now, once they come, where do they live? Rentals are expensive, where their
Hmm.
workplace, so they need a house. So these are some.
Hmm.
Now we all are aware that there are some of these standard which all the panelists are aware of, but we can deliberate how to solve it. One is the scarcity of land. Land cannot be stretched. Yes, some places reclamation projects are taking place like Maharashtra and other places, but in many landlocked states, you can't do that. But how do we address this issue? Because again, some speakers would definitely mention that how do we get cheap land? Land is expensive. If land is expensive, which is a big component in the project cost, so how do we make it
Major
affordable? Or
construction material,
more than
land,
that,
दोनों ही बहुत.
how do we address the EWS housing, where there is a
Hmm.
huge governmental support? Then connectivity issues, because it has to be near to their workplace. Lack of, or there has to be very good mass transport systems, metros or some such arrangements. There's lack of private participation, financial avenues are there, but there are way forwards. There are opportunities. Everyone knows today who are in the panel that there are government initiatives. Government of India has come up with PMAY scheme, and it's a huge budget. And this is going on. And the budget for 2024 of Government of India, they have allocated 30,171 crores. So that's a good allocation for PMAY urban. So that's one opportunity which we can catch and try to do something. Then we have to also address the demand side constraints. I was hearing somebody would ask for subsidies. The allottee would like to have some subsidy because he is unable to pay the full money. The government and the government of India and the state government, they come in EWS schemes and they pay some portion is paid by government of India and some portion is paid by the state government, and some portion he pays, and then the EMI and things like that. They have the issues of getting loans. The in the affordable also in that one there is a issue of getting a home loan, though government of UP has done a good thing that they have allowed mortgage, which was not permitted. So this facility the state government has now done. There was a restriction of 5 years on mortgage earlier when the scheme had come, but now government of UP has allowed to mortgage it even before that, so that he can get a bank loan. Otherwise, getting a bank loan, especially for the poorer section of the society in India, is not so easy.
Impossible.
The documentation required, the collaterals required, and stuff like that. So this mortgage has been allowed by the state government. Similar, but this facility is also required more so in the EWS and LIG sector, and government of UP is seriously considering of lifting this restriction even in the EWS and LIG house for EWS and LIG housing. Then
I think that's a very good concept, sir, because that will solve a lot of problems for the end customer.
2-3 points. One is we'll have to have a matured rental mechanism. What should be the rentals? Because unless and until because many may not buy, many may would like to live on rentals. Or suppose if I buy a house and I get job somewhere else, so what do I do? Do I make it a debt capital or I put it on rentals? Then the administrative efficiency of all of us put together, the regulatory authorities, the development authorities, and all bodies, so that things go fast. And with all these things, I think we have great challenges. We have great opportunities. At this moment, I would stop here and would join as and when the topic, the discussion goes further.
Right. Thank you so much, Sanjay sir. I think, couple of pointers which you have already addressed, which needs to be considered. Like, for example, rental mechanism is something which I think definitely needs to be discussed as to know how we can improve on those basis. और जो आप mortgage का बोल रहे हो जो UP government ने अभी allow कर दिया है where it was a cap for 5 years before. I think that's again a very good initiative for the sector to begin with. Thank you for your thoughts.
If I'm permitted, just 2 small points.
Sure.
One issue is the quality issue, because in EWS and LIG, quality is a big issue. So I would expect the promoters to look into it. How do we give them a reasonably good quality house? That is one. And secondly, the UP government has had 142 lakh houses under PMAY 72,000 and under EWS 70,000. So, but this number is too small compared to the demand. So the supply and demand side has to be there, and all of us have to understand that Section 32D and E of the RERA Act 2016 gives the responsibility on the state machinery, state authority, including RERA, to work on affordable housing, and it includes EWS and LIG.
True. Great. Now, sir, quality के लिए तो I think the developers, be it these two developers or all the developers that we talk about, would face a challenge जब तक वो cap नहीं बढ़ेगा. वो 45 लाख रुपए के cap में हम बोल रहे हैं हम land की cost भी cover कर लें, material cost भी cover कर लें, quality भी cover करें, थोड़ा सा challenge है. So I think that's a separate discussion we guys can definitely have on those bases and take this forward. But thank you so much, sir, for your thoughts. And we will take this forward along with the rest of the speakers. So I would like to begin with Pranay ji. So Pranay ji, I think you've been coming from REPL and you have diversified experience in real estate and infrastructure and other sectors. So this question I would like to take up with you. REPL has been involved in large states like UP, Maharashtra, providing PMC services for the construction of houses under PMI scheme. What has been REPL's experience in delivering projects under PMAY? आपने काफी zones में काम किया है. How has been your experience in working under this Pradhan Mantri Yojana?
Thank you, Sonal, and proud to be part of this eminent panel. Coming to your
pleasure is ours, sir.
Coming to the query and the specific question you have asked, I would like to take little deeper what the government has been doing and how things have been shaping up there. Prime Minister Awas Yojana definitely is a flagship scheme, and it's a much bigger scheme where with lots of outlay. It has considered overall a requirement in 4 types. Beneficiary-led construction means you provide certain benefits and the beneficiary does the construction themselves. That means there is no developer involved. Second is affordable housing, where is it in partnership. So there EWS and others come and then their allotment takes place. Third, affordable rental housing, and fourth is the interest subsidy. In PMAY scheme, mostly focus has been so far on beneficiary-led construction. In that rural hinterland, there is hardly a developer which is going. They are limited to tier 1, tier 2, maybe tier 3 cities. Whereas beneficiaries are required within the village area or rural areas. PMAY scheme has been able to touch base with a large hinterland. That is one success. The length and breadth of this country is really, the magnitude is impressive, and the way to reach out to them. What we have been finding challenge in terms of people, their awareness, to sensitize them, there is a scheme, they can take benefit. Then there are unscrupulous people who just come because there is a benefit, so they just jump in. They are non-serious. So again, to take out from their coming to making their plan, helping them to take approval, and then helping them to get reach different milestones to achieve. And our the interesting experience between UP and Maharashtra, particularly Pune, has been different. UP people have taken this scheme very seriously, and they have been utilizing it. Just getting a small house was their ambition, and they took benefit. But in PMAY scheme in Pune and hinterland, when we went, we found that their earning, that living standards were better. They were not happy. They wanted to construct a house, but they wanted to construct a bigger house. So the challenge was that when the scheme was there, and then they took approval, when they started construction, they wanted to construct bigger house. Now, bigger house, where to bring the balance fund now? UP was taking initiative of giving initial fund. 50,000 they were giving in the beginning.
Right.
Yeah, but then 50,000 was not being given in Maharashtra. They were telling them, no, you first bring your component, then before we will give our share. So as a result, there that number of people who got the sanction and the one who started, there is a drastic difference. In UP, that success ratio was almost 70 to 80%, whereas the success ratio in Pune region was only 20 to 30%. So we found the difference because of that locality and the region, that requirement of housing, their ambition is to build bigger house. they needed bigger funding and little more tweaking with that policy. But policy is uniform India over. So, so that was one type of issue. Coming to affordable housing overall, I would like to take this privilege to tell what is affordable. One is that government definition. But as far as what Sanjay sir said just some time ago, that what people can afford. If you take to India and you do Google, you will find that what is that average income in the country. And average in the income in the country is around 3 lakhs, 3.2 lakhs per annum. Now, 3.2 lakhs per annum, if you do it, and he was telling up 5 times of it. So 5 times of that income, if you do it, that means average Indian can only afford a house of 15 lakh rupees, a capex, which normally, you know very well, it is not possible to construct. So what does it mean?
Absolutely.
What does it mean that with average income you can't afford a house? So then comes subsidy, land availability, and others. So if we come out of that strict definition per se, then comes that yes, 45 lakh or 60 lakhs or 80 lakhs, whatever people can make it. MIG is also qualifying to part of affordable housing.
Okay.
If I look to cities where people say affordable now, I'm not going by the government definition. People are thinking about somewhere 75 lakh also is affordable. Now, affordable because what that people who are having normal income, they can think about taking loan, even buying it. So what are the key components which influence the cost? It is one of the dominant cost is your land, and second is the construction cost. Land cost has been going up, construction cost has been going up. So I, being a professional
How does it remain affordable?
yes, I rather see there are policy people who will focus on what policies can be developed. We are more consultant and
Right.
focused more on what technological intervention can be done by which we can bring that cost down, at the same time can maintain the quality, the one which you raised. The
Yeah,
cost,
so that's what even
Yes,
Sanjay ji was talking about,
Yes,
that
yes.
quality is something which a developer needs to take care, right?
Coming to cost, we realize that if you are where you have got land issue, where you can't go vertically, sorry, we can't go horizontally, you have to go only vertically. So then there are certain costs which comes along with it. For example, HVAC, plumbing, ventilation, and the vertical transportation cost which comes along with going vertically. So that you cannot just reduce the cost of construction. What you can do is you can go for a scale and do as much precast. Thereby you can reduce the time to construct, the cost to construct, as well as get you can't fabricate somewhere else and bring it. In that case, it considered manufacture, and there your other taxes do come in. Thereby you have to basically develop this at
That's
the place.
another factor.
Yes, you have to do it at the place of construction. So there we found that more than 2
So I
million.
think good thought on that.
So
Absolutely. No, I think so. Very good thought on that.
more than 2 million, 3 million construction we do, you can have precast facility developed at the site, so you can avoid tax, and at the same time you can construct the house of right quality and the right cost. But if you go to hinterland, there you can't develop that type of scale. So as a result, you can't solve like that. So that solution there is you do flatter and horizontal construction. There your cost of your reinforcement will be lower, because per square feet cost of reinforcement goes up if you go up high. But if you are making G+2, it's a very, very affordable, what you call standard and ordinary. The moment you go up because of seismic load, your per square feet reinforcement goes up. So there you don't have HVAC, you don't have ventilation, you don't have firefighting. As a result, your cost of construction comes down, and then you make it affordable. If you try to solve the problem through a traditional route, you can't solve the quality issue, because You can't reduce cement and expect a quality of a house. So is the case. You can't reduce supervision and then get a quality. Because if you are doing in situ construction and reduce supervision, because you can't put so many, you can't put project management consultants separately because they charge. We do provide project management consulting, but then it is coming with a charge. So how do you provide it when you don't have that much of, you have got shoestring budget? Then you can. So those are the issues you need to resolve. You need to resolve. Then only this the quality issue can be handled. And I told you, quality can be handled by two methods. One is, when you're talking about bigger cities,
technology.
Scale. Yes, scale. If you do higher scale and prefab, you do it. That means your quality of surface finish, quality of level alignment, etc., will be very less. Good quality work can be done, and can be done without any detailed of supervision. And even if it is required for a shorter
No,
period.
I think very well taken, sir. Very well taken, sir. So I think you've covered it really well as to giving two examples of different locations where both in UP and Pune, how both the places had different results, and probably how we can work on the quality part of it. Thank you so much for your thoughts. I would like to take the next question with Meenu ma'am. So, Meenu ma'am, we have seen a lot of developers who have shifted from affordable housing to mid-size to large luxury developments. So, what are the initiatives, where you think are required to reverse this situation? In the current situation, where we've seen a lot of developers moving from affordable to to luxury, what are the scenarios which you think need to be taken care to bring this back?
First of all, Sonal, thank you so much for calling me on the Resurgent. And my regards to Sanjay sir. Sanjay sir, namaskar. And to other eminent speakers. Sonal, my view is all are experts from the industry and everybody is aware of the challenges. Why affordable housing, why developers are shifting from affordable housing to luxury. Everyone is aware that land cost is increasing, construction cost is increasing. But I would like to discuss about the solutions because it's very important. Because day before yesterday, I was going to my home, returning to home in the evening, and some lady was sleeping at the footpath. So I was just saying to my driver, see the condition of our country, that we cannot give a house to a citizen. What is the condition of our country? So it's very important that how we can give the house to a citizen, because the people are moving to urban areas. Land area is limited. So we have to find out the solutions. One is, as Mr. Pranay has said, we should work on the vertical housing because horizontal housing is not possible. Land is limited. Vertical housing is very important. Yes. Of course, that will increase the cost of construction and other things also. And other way out is because there's a condition on the companies for the CSR that average 2% of the profits of average profit should be spent on the CSR. So if we can allocate, we can give the benefit to the developers that if they spend some of the amount in the EWS, then that will be counted in the CSR activity. So that will be a very good incentive for the developers, and definitely they will work on EWS projects. And second point, as Sanjay sir has said, that the houses should be near to the metro projects. So everyone, when the developer launches a project near where the good infrastructure is there, they ask for the premium. So instead of the premium, there can be some policy that all the houses which are near the metro, the land will be available at the subsidized rates, but there will be condition that they have to make 1 or 2 towers for the EWS houses also. So that again one incentive for the developers because it is near the metro. Developer work will be done that they will get the land at a subsidized rate, and the government work will also be done that the EWS houses will be constructed.
Because already because I have seen a lot of projects which have mix of both EWS as well as high end. ये already है नहीं ये scheme हमारे पास.
EWS की scheme है, but जो metro के पास है, of course उनकी locations different होती हैं, but like as Sanjay sir has said, जो EWS houses हैं, उनके लिए facilities भी how they will travel to their places. So that's why I'm saying there can be some changes in the policies that near the metro where infrastructure is good, the land can be available at the subsidized rates so that developer can acquire the land, and that there should be mandatory condition for 1 or 2 towers for the EWS houses. So in this way, yes, they can work upon it. And third one is there can be some, like in the Delhi, there is a carpool policy in the pollution when pollution is very high. So there can be some policy of the on JDA also, because land is limited. They are good developers, landowners don't have the experience of the development. So there can be some incentive on the JDAs also, that if you work through the JDA, there should be small incentive on GST or some other kind of incentive, so that the people can collaborate and they can do the co-development. So that can also be done. And the fourth part is FAR. If on the projects there's a 2 FAR or 2.5 FAR, and the developer is, if there is always a concept of purchasable FAR. So in the vertical FAR, when they purchase the FAR, there's a cost which is to be submitted. So along purchasable FAR, there should be some condition of EWS, that if we are giving you the purchasable FAR, there is a mandatory condition of constructing EWS houses. So these kind of initiatives, it can help to again get the developers on the EWS track, because otherwise the way the cost is increasing,
it's difficult.
They work upon EWS houses. Yes. And many stress projects are already lying waste in the NCR also. So government should work on that how those stress projects can be worked out, how that land or those buildings can be allocated to some good developers, so that that can be worked upon, and the already infrastructure that is going waste, how that can be utilized.
Absolutely. I think, nailed on it, ma'am. So when we're talking about, I think both of you have covered very interesting points where we're talking about vertical housing, about CSR initiative, about JDA initiatives. Very good thought, probably somebody sitting with the land. And if he is given an, incentive, कि ठीक है आप किसी डेवलपर के साथ अगर टाई अप करके उसको अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग का प्रोजेक्ट करवा देते हो, so there are some GST rebates or other rebates which can be introduced. I think very interesting discussion.
One more point is, there is a policy of PMAY, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, but the approval process is very slow. Like we are all doing one of the project in Ghaziabad that is under PMAY. And in this, of course, there is a policy that state government will give the subsidy of 2,50,000, central government will give the subsidy of 3,50,000. But initially, developer has to spend on the construction from his own pocket, and then he has to go to and fro for getting the subsidy. So that is a very long process. So government should work on the how to make the approval speedy and smooth. That is also very important.
True. Very well said. So देखिए सर, संजय सर, हमने तो आपको pointers दे दिए, probably getting back all these developers to affordable housing. So Gorson has been doing a lot of work in the affordable housing in the past. So I think it's a very interesting pointers which Veenu ma'am has taken out, and we will really look forward to your support to get things in track. Thank you so much, ma'am. So my next question will be to Kunalji here. Kunalji, what can be done to make affordable housing more attractive to institutional investors? Given that in past only attracted 11% of total private equity investment till 2011, since 2011. So what are the various incentives which you think can be given to the institutional investors, since the traction in this segment has been low? So what are your thoughts on that?
To be very honest with you, honestly, जितने points थे, mostly प्रणय जी ने और वीनू जी ने और of course संजय सर ने सब कुछ cover कर लिए हैं. Hardly any points which are remaining for me to say, but मैं दो तीन चीजें इसमें add करना चाहूँगा. That of course,
from investor perspective is important. Yeah.
So of course, offer the land at subsidized rate. ये तो होना ही चाहिए. When it comes to affordable housing, अगर आपका कोई सेगमेंट ऐसा है जो आपका अपर कैप तो ऑलरेडी फिक्स्ड है, उसको आप चेंज कर नहीं सकते, और लोअर आपका बढ़ता जा रहा है, सो मेरे पास कॉस्टिंग कम करने के अलावा और कोई तरीका बचता नहीं. सो ऑफ कोर्स ऑफर लैंड एट अ वेरी वेरी सब्सिडाइज्ड रेट्स. डेवलपर, कोई भी प्राइवेट डेवलपर प्रॉफिट के लिए आता है, वो कोई चैरिटी के लिए नहीं आ रहा है. लेट मी पुट इट वेरी ऑनेस्टली एंड स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड. ऐसा नहीं है कि हमें कोई चैरिटी करने का बहुत वो है. यस, अपने एंड पे करना चाहते हैं, सब कुछ करना चाहते हैं, बट प्रॉफिट्स भी उतने ही इंपॉर्टेंट है किसी भी डेवलपर के लिए. दिस इज अ फैक्ट. ऐसा कोई अलग से कोई अदरवाइज नहीं है. एक जो चीज शायद करनी चाहिए, ऑफ द इंडस्ट्री बात कर रहा हूं, अगर आप होटल बनाते हैं उसमें आपको EPCG बेनिफिट्स मिलते हैं, which is your export promotion capital goods मिलता है आपको. जिसके अंदर कि आपको अगर टैक्सेशन है या ड्यूटीज हैं वो आपको लेवी नहीं होती हैं। मान लीजिए मैं कोई एलिवेटर ऑर्डर कर रहा हूँ फॉर अ होटल प्रोजेक्ट फ्रॉम चाइना, इन दैट केस मेरी ड्यूटी जो है वो आपको ड्यूटी नहीं लगती है। सो इन सिमिलर मैनर अगर मैं अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग कहीं पे कर रहा हूँ, क्या ऐसा हो सकता है कि मुझे जीएसटी ना लगाई जाए उस प्रोजेक्ट के लिए? क्या ऐसा कोई बेनिफिट मुझे मिल सकता है एज अ डेवलपर विच वुड डेफिनेटली एनहांस माय willingness to go for such a project which will lessen my cost? मेरे पास कॉस्ट कट करने के दो ही तरीके हैं। एक, मैं अपना कहीं ना कहीं लैंड को सब्सिडाइज करूं, एक मैं कंस्ट्रक्शन कॉस्ट को कम करूं। कंस्ट्रक्शन कॉस्ट पे मेरा मटेरियल कॉस्ट आती है, मटेरियल में मेरी जीएसटी आज की डेट में बहुत ज्यादा लग जाती है, ठीक है। प्लस मुझे आगे से मॉडवैट मिलता नहीं है, ठीक है। जब मुझे मॉडवैट मिल नहीं रहा, मेरा जीएसटी लग रहा है आज की डेट में, तो क्या मेरे को ये जीएसटी वेव ऑफ हो सकती है फॉर ओनली these kind of projects? So एक ये थॉट था। तीसरा, कहीं ना कहीं ये तो यूनिवर्सल चीज है जो पिछले शायद हम 15 साल से बोले जा रहे हैं कि मतलब मुझे जब से मैं रियल एस्टेट में हूँ, जब से मैं एक ही चीज कह रहे हैं कि सिंगल विंडो क्लियरेंस होना चाहिए, सिंगल विंडो क्लियरेंस होना चाहिए, सिंगल विंडो क्लियरेंस होना चाहिए। बट शायद वो होता नहीं, क्योंकि अगर ये भी एक नॉर्मल प्रोजेक्ट की तरह ट्रीट किया जाता है, जब एक नॉर्मल ग्रुप हाउसिंग प्रोजेक्ट में कर रहा हूँ, या फॉर दैट मैटर मैं कोई लग्जरी बना रहा हूँ, चाहे मैं गुड़गांव में चाहे दीनदयाल लेके आ रहा हूँ, चाहे मैं अफोर्डेबल लेके आ रहा हूँ, चाहे कुछ भी लेके आ रहा हूँ, माई प्रोसेस टू गेट थिंग्स इज एग्जैक्टली द सेम, इट इज नॉट चेंजिंग, whereas my profit margins out here are way lesser. So मेरे पास लिमिटेड टाइम है, लिमिटेड रिसोर्सेज हैं, मैं वही चीज करना चाहूंगा एज अ डेवलपर जहां मेरा प्रॉफिट ज्यादा होता है। सो अगर मुझे इंसेंटिवाइज करना है तो मैं आप ये बोलूंगा कि मेरे लिए इजी कर दो इस प्रोसेस को, जितना ईज आउट कर सकते हो उतना ईज आउट कर दो। सेकेंडली, जीएसटी अगर कुछ वेव ऑफ कर सकते हो तो वेव ऑफ कर दो मेरे लिए। थर्डली, अनु प्रणय जी ने एक बड़ी अच्छी बात कही थी कि यू कैन गो वर्टिकल, बियॉन्ड अ सर्टन हाइट यू नीड टू हैव, जैसे आप 45 मीटर्स बिल्डिंग क्रॉस करते हैं, आपको 2 स्टेयरकेसेस चाहिए, आपको फायर फाइटिंग चाहिए, आपको सब कुछ चाहिए। और अगर आप मुझे एफएआर ज्यादा दे देते हैं, आप मुझे एफएआर ज्यादा दे देते हैं और थोड़ा सा लीवे दे देते हैं कि अगर आप नीचे अपार्टमेंट खरीद रहे हैं बियॉन्ड 45 मीटर हाइट, उसकी प्राइसिंग आप ये रख लीजिए। 45 मीटर्स के ऊपर आप जाते हैं तो उसकी एक अलग प्राइसिंग रख दीजिए। दिस काइंड ऑफ इंसेंटिव्स इफ यू गिव टू अ डेवलपर। और आज की डेट में आपके पास एक अप्रोक्सीमेटली, मैं ज्यादा नहीं बोलूंगा, कहीं कहीं की जगह पे जैसे 5% का आपको मैनेजमेंट कोटा मिलता है। कैन वी इंक्रीज दैट कोटा मे बी, सो दैट एटलीस्ट मैं कुछ तो उसमें कुछ कर पाऊं। आज मुझे कमर्शियल मिलता है, कमर्शियल का कोटा मिलता है मुझे from about, I think Gurgaon has a quota of about 8%, if I'm not wrong, in commercial. I'm not sure about UP, how much does it have. So वो 8% में मैं ठीक ठाक जस्टिफिकेशन कर सकता हूँ। क्या मुझे इसमें कमर्शियल का कोटा मे बी 15% मिल सकता है, which will justify my going into a project like this vis-a-vis a normal group housing project जहां मुझे सिर्फ 5% मिलता है। सो मेरे पास अगर कमर्शियल बेचने का वहां पे एक मेरे को प्रोविजन मिल जाता है, इट विल एनहांस माय ओवरऑल मेरा कैश फ्लो बढ़ जाएगा, मेरा सब कुछ आ जाएगा, मेरे को आसानी हो जाएगी एज अ डेवलपर टू डेवलप द एंटायर प्रोजेक्ट एंड सेल इट टू द पीपल हु एक्चुअली रिक्वायर समथिंग लाइक दिस। सो दिस इज समथिंग व्हिच आई हैव इन माय माइंड। एंड ऑफ कोर्स करना चाहिए, स्ट्रिक्ट लाइंस होना चाहिए, स्ट्रिक्ट टाइमलाइंस होनी चाहिए आपके सारे काम में, इसमें तो कोई दो राय है नहीं। इट शुड बी अ स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड प्रोसेस। No doubt that monitoring by the comparative agencies वो होना ही होना चाहिए, इसमें कोई डाउट नहीं है। बिकॉज स्पेक वाइज अगर मेरे पास कॉस्टिंग कम है तो मैं उसको कम से कम करना चाहता हूँ एट ऑल टाइम्स। व्हेन आई से जैक्वार दूंगा तो मैं जैक्वार की लोएस्ट रंग फिटिंग लगाना चाहता हूँ, वेरी ऑनेस्टली, एंड देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग इन इट। बट एट द सेम टाइम वो जैक्वार ही लग रहा है या कुछ और लग रहा है, उसके लिए अगर कोई एजेंट है वो चेक कर सकती है, दैट वुड बी रियली नाइस। सो वो एक बहुत 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 जरूरी है कि वो स्पेक वाइज सब ठीक है, कोई प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं है। सो ऑल दोस एलिमेंट्स आर डेफिनेटली देयर।
Great. GST, like you mentioned, or a single window clearance are very common problems with most of the people have been facing. And yes, regulatory authority कोई check करने के लिए कि material वगैरह क्या है, किस हिसाब से लग रहा है, if things are compliant well, is equally important. So I think that if taken care, so most of the developers would look forward to doing certain projects like this where they have already been doing in the past. I think these are certain things which can be taken care.
Just one more point to add to this, that as investors, अगर मैं investors नहीं बोलूंगा, end users के बारे में अगर मैं सोचूं इसके अंदर, तो कहीं ना कहीं होता क्या है कि if given an option, मैं भी अपना पैसा शायद से अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग में लगा के उसमें पैसा बनाना चाहूंगा, या कोई भी बनाना चाहेगा एज एन इन्वेस्टर.
Right.
Ideally, if I own a home and if my salary brackets are not competitive with or not in that bracket, I should not be given an option to invest or buy a home in the affordable housing segment. It should be given to the appropriate people so that they have at least one home coming to them, rather than offering it to anybody and saying कि ठीक है जी आप जितना चाहिए खरीद लो, अभी 10 खरीद लो, 5 खरीद लो, जितना चाहिए.
पैरामीटर लगाना जरूरी है.
करेक्ट, पैरामीटर लगाना बहुत जरूरी है, उस पर कैपिंग और उसका मॉनिटरिंग बहुत जरूरी है. मैं आपको एक सिंपल सा एग्जांपल देता हूँ. आज की डेट में गुड़गांव में एज हस्बैंड एंड वाइफ, एज हस्बैंड एंड वाइफ, आई कैन इन्वेस्ट इनटू एन अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग प्रोजेक्ट वेरी इजीली, and parallelly I can invest into another project which is also affordable housing. और मैं ऐसे 5 प्रोजेक्ट्स अगर मार्केट में आए तो मैं 5 में इन्वेस्ट कर सकता हूँ, और अगर मेरा 5 में नंबर आ गया तो मुझे 5 लॉट होंगे. अब मैं अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग तो किसी भी
you're not solving the end purpose in that case. जिसको जरूरत है उसको नहीं मिल रहा है.
Correct. So which is something which is lacking. तो ये एक the end user वो बड़ा important है.
सोनल जी, आप 2-3 पॉइंट्स जो उभर के आ रहे हैं उसमें one is the GST. I think we are also trying to do some research along with the GST department, and we would be very soon promulgating on our website what is the exact GST for various categories. So in some it is 1%, in some it is 5%. But general understanding about the GST, there is a confusion, especially affordable housing. There is a low GST. The GST Council keeps notifying people, but many developers in UP, they charge 18% from the end customer or 12%. Different developers do differently, and therefore, when we hear cases, complaints before our in our tribunals, so we as presiding officers, we keep getting complaints. So I think that this is one area which Kunal has raised. So we will be doing that. So it's not that, and especially for affordable housing.
Sir, single window clearance.
That is single window clearance is now available with the development authorities for map sanctioning, etc. And also with the RERAs, all RERAs by and large. One good thing which has happened, like at least in UP, and I'm sure in major states, it must be there, that the map sanctioning is no more manual. It's all online. I don't know about Haryana. Kunalji may be in a better position, but in UP, it's all online. Similarly, the RERA paperwork, whatever they have to do to get their project registered with RERA and get a PRJ number, it's all online. Now, UP building bylaws also allows a part of that for commercial purpose. In every project, big or small or townships, there is a percentage of how much you can do commercial. Even our regulatory, our power supplying companies, the DISCOMs, they also allow the developer to sell certain amount of power if it's a single point connection for commercial purposes. So that is there. And our building bylaws also allows a particular percentage depending upon the type of project and so on and so forth. Some portion as commercial, as he had said that if there is commercial, so some degree of cross subsidization can take place. The third point,
Great.
which we are now also putting it as part of Form C, which is a new registration document. If you get a registration number and your project is registered, you get a Form C as per RERA laws. So in that,
Okay.
we are mentioning now that all these projects should adhere to NBC and BIS codes. So what we are
Okay.
seeing that, and that is one of the reasons why these quality issues are coming. If they adhere to basic BIS and NBC, I'm not saying put a high-end Jaguar, as he has very rightly mentioned. And this there should be no doubt that a promoter is there to earn money. He may do some degree of CSR, some degree of from his profits, but primarily he's there for profits. Government agencies can do on a no profit, no loss, as some of the development authorities and housing boards have been doing. So I thought these are some of the points which have come up. So to clarify that.
Just a small thing, sir. Sorry for cutting you this thing, sir.
Sure.
GST में जो कह रहा था, whenever we purchase something.
No, I got your point. I have taken your point. It's
Yes,
a
sir.
good thing, like in hotel projects and some industry projects.
Yes.
Governments have allowed. Like this point had come that we may have to go high rise in case of because of non-availability of land, as Dr. Vinu had said. So if you go high rise beyond 4 stories, you will have to provide lift, whether it is EWS or LIG. If you go 10, and there is an additional cost when you go to high rise. When you go for high rise, because fire safety becomes slightly expensive. Water pumping, distribution becomes expensive. And I think Pranay ji was also saying, so once you go high rise, there is some additional cost which is inbuilt into it. So you can't escape that. So there, if you import or you buy a lift, because now all lifts are coming from China by and large, they may have Indian subsidiaries, but it's all Chinese products. So once it comes, so then the concession with respect to import-export duties, taxations can be provided. Subject to that, they are used for EWS, LIG, affordable housing. I think Kunal must be mentioning about that, if I've understood it correctly.
Yes, sir.
Great. No, thank you so much, Sanjay sir, for addressing some of the pointers which were taken up by these developers. I think that would really help them to plan and take this forward there. So my next question would be to Pranay ji. The supply of affordable housing significantly falls short of the demand. What does the future hold for meeting this requirement? मतलब डिमांड बहुत सारी है सर, सप्लाई इतनी है नहीं है. आपको कैसे लगता है ये गैप कवर हो पाएगा?
See, one very good development is taking place in countries. Many of the solution comes because of the basic demand itself. If you look to overall country-wise, between 29 to 50 million houses, there is a shortage of demand. Shortage of what is the supply? Naturally, there is a demand. Whenever there is a demand, and if you see, there are very interesting developments. If you see in the society, there was a time when Maruti 800 was selling the most. Then came Maruti Alto started selling most, and now it is something else is selling more. That means the affordability has gone up. Second side, people come out with innovative models, solutions. You need to have between consultant, developer, and also buyer groups, large society development. For each and everything, only government cannot come and provide solution. Because nowadays, your electronic and social media and networking is so high. People develop their own interest groups and do it. Society-wise, I used to hear during my childhood, there is a society and then people developed and they made their housing. Lots of such collaborative effort will come up. And the type of demand which is there, as I told you, technology has to provide, technology has to come forward. And some solution like policy as giving more FAR, giving some part of the extra commercial. And it's just a model, tweaking. The moment you tweak the model, many of such projects will become viable. Right now, people have not even gone to that extent of doing it. I hope that such collaborative effort and policy development will come up, and solution will definitely come. In any case, satellite towns which are coming up, wherein you can't keep on just spending on cities, because there is a limit to what the people like, government of India came out with the smart cities. Still, if you see that Chandni Chowk, which got a facelift after so much of time, is still at the same situation now, because it becomes filthy again. So as a result, we cannot continue to keep on burdening the existing cities with the existing infrastructure. There is a limit to which it can take. So naturally, you need bigger and different and more townships and satellite townships. So part of the solution will come by going little, and then connectivity will come because of this metro. So development will come, solution will also come. Yes, the challenge which I always see and compare with Europe, the problem remains that walk to work, which is there a concept there. Here it is not happening, because having a house and keeping a work near your workplace, there is where that issue. You can have a house, but since job opportunities are not, it can come in any place of the city. So naturally, we have to commute a lot. So a mix of match is required, wherein you can have an affordable house, but it may not be very close to your residence. As a result, you may have to commute for larger distance, and as a result, you need to have a city transport network integrated plan and design, so that both problems are resolved. So that is what comes to my mind.
Oh, great. Very well said, Pranayji. I think, you've covered a lot of structural and infrastructure issues also here. So I think a lot of things which need to be worked across, where we can increase the demand for the affordable housing projects. क्योंकि अभी वही होता है कि like Kunal ji was mentioning about कि जिसको जरूरत होती है उसको अभी भी नहीं मिल रहा है, लेकिन जहाँ पे लोग अफोर्ड कर सकते हैं वो आज की डेट में अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग पे काम कर रहे हैं. So वो एक और पैरामीटर है which I think probably affordable housing needs to be taken care कि कैसे उसको हम लोग और अफोर्डेबल जो जिनको एग्जैक्टली जरूरत है उन लोगों के हिसाब से कैसे डिमांड हम गैप कवर कर सकते हैं. So I think well taken points, sir. So I'll go back to Dr. Venu Singhal here. So, should India's affordable housing cap of 45 lakh that we've been discussing from the beginning of the discussion be revised, and particularly in high-cost cities like Mumbai? If so, what should be the new criteria? मतलब जो हम 45 lakhs की cap की बात कर रहे हैं मैम, हम डिस्कशन के शुरू से ही बात कर रहे हैं कि इसको रिवाइज करना चाहिए. आपके हिसाब से for metros like Bombay, Delhi, what should be the cap here?
See, Sonal, answer to this question is clear-cut no, yes, and no, no, because it's a mixed answer. 45 lakh is good enough, but it depends on city to city. If we see the metro cities, Mumbai, Delhi, and Hyderabad, Bangalore.
Are we particularly talking about metros here? Right.
Because for these people, the 400 square feet house is affordable house, and its value can be 70, 75 lakh. As initially Mr. Pranay has said, now affordable housing is 75 lakh is the affordable one. Even 1 CR, 1.25 CR is the affordable housing. So it depends on city to city, and definitely for the cities of metros, these caps should be revised, and the circle rates and market rates are also very increasing. So that should also be considered, that at least the cost should match with the circle rate. In many cities, you see that many states circle rates are higher, and this cap is lower. So we have to do that also. So indexation, all these things are very important, that where the unit is 400 square feet can work, and where the unit of 700 square feet can come under affordable housing. So we must work upon this.
Okay, so this takes me to another connecting question. So before going to Kunal, I'll take it up with you. How can developers possibly overcome escalating land prices and construction costs while keeping affordable housing projects viable in a metro area? Particularly
yes,
from
developers, because land is, and there's no control of the developers on the land cost. If it is from the authority side, then definitely authority can give some incentives for the EWS housing. But otherwise, developer from their own end, they can work upon the technology, how with the use of technology, they can reduce the cost. And if they are getting the big parcels of land with the volume, if they are working in the volume, then definitely they can decrease the cost. Because it's very important that while constructing these affordable housing, how the cost should be controlled. Because only then a common man can afford this house. For that, it is also important that from the government side, like Pranay and Kunal has also said, that from the cement, steel, the cost is very increasing day by day. On the cement, 28% GST, other 18% GST. So how these benefits we can get? Already Sanjay sir has already told that on the EWS housing, there's a 1% GST. Already that initiative is taken by the government, because otherwise 5% GST, but on the EWS housing, there's a 1% GST. But how we can control the cost of the material, that is also very important. So we should work collectively on these parameters, because only one side, only government cannot work upon this. Developers must also work. So we all should work as a team. We should work as a one team to address this challenge, because we cannot neglect the EWS sector. It's very important sector. It's very important to give the house to every citizen. Because, and it's a very good opportunity also, as Sanjay sir has said initially, because along with the challenge, there's an opportunity also. So when there's a vacuum in the society, and when you fill that vacuum, you get the good business. So already there is a good amount of vacuum in the EWS category. So we must collectively work upon that.
Absolutely. I think, very well answered on those bases, that it has to be a joint initiative between the developer and the government to make affordable housing as a initiative, as a successful initiative. Because वही है कि government अपनी तरफ से जितना कर रही है, these guys are speaking to the developers also, giving them opportunities also, and developers also have been facing their own set of challenges. So I think, it's a joint initiative where both of them have to collaborate to give affordable housing, or make affordable housing a successful initiative. Very well taken. Thank you so much. So my last question here would go to Kunalji here. How can developers manage delays and cost overruns in affordable housing project while adhering to RERA regulations? So RERA plays an important role here. Kunalji, we can't hear you.
Sorry, yeah. So I think RERA is something which has come as a boon to all the I would say good developers. I will not say all the developers out here, but जितने अच्छे developers थे सबके लिए it has come as a boon, क्योंकि अब हमारे पास अच्छा काम करने के अच्छी चीजें हैं उसके लिए, ऐसा नहीं है कि नहीं मिलती हैं. Now, how can we manage the delays? Of course, using softwares, using construction softwares. When it comes to high-rise developments, can we use aluminum formwork to make the construction faster? Yes, possibly, because you're replicating and you're making the construction faster. Thirdly, it's a repetitive job, so it does not take a lot of innovation. So आप जल्दी काम कर सकते हैं. Of course, that is one more element which comes to it. Using technology at its best, जितना भी हो सके वो करें. From the government side, if अगर एक support मिल सकता है, क्योंकि जैसे सबको मालूम है अभी ग्रैप आने वाला है, ठीक है. Of course, there are some things which have been given by CAQM कि ठीक है internal activities आप कर सकते हैं, लेकिन construction को overall effect जरूर होता है. Now, when a project like कोई bridges बनने हैं, उस पे कोई ग्रैप नहीं लगता, ठीक है. कोई infrastructure project है, वहां पे ग्रैप नहीं लगता, ठीक है. कोई रोड बननी है, उस पे कोई ग्रैप नहीं लगता. Now, ये जितने डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, इस पे कोई ग्रैप नहीं लगता, ठीक है. When I say ग्रैप नहीं लगता, और कहीं ना कहीं ऐसा नहीं कि ये कोई पोल्यूशन नहीं फैला रहे या हम ही पोल्यूशन फैला रहे हैं सारे के सारे, ऐसा नहीं है. बट एट द सेम टाइम इन पे ग्रैप नहीं लगता. आज डेवलपर की जीत सिर्फ दो चीजों में है. एक, अपनी कॉस्ट को कम करने में, और दूसरी वो टाइमलाइंस को जितना कम कर सके उतना कम करने में, ठीक है. अगर मुझे वो ग्रैप के टाइम पे भी अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग में कम से कम मुझे अगर बनाने दिया जाता है, तो एटलीस्ट मैं काम कर सकता हूँ, मेरा काम रुकता नहीं है. अदरवाइज अननेसेसरीली मेरी लेबर वापस चली जाती है. मुझे लेबर को वापस से एंगेज करने में बहुत ज्यादा टाइम लगता है. एक 3 साल की टाइमलाइन लेने के बाद मैं 4 या 5 साल में वो प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीट कर पाता हूँ. सो माई प्रोजेक्ट कॉस्ट्स गो फॉर अ रन, एंड आई एम नॉट एबल टू justify the costs at our own end. So somewhere can we remove this thing from GRAP? ठीक है, this is for the common good. This is for the common good of the people. एंड दिस इज द गवर्नमेंट इनिशिएटिव। क्या उसको हम वैसे दिखा सकते हैं? रेरा रजिस्टर्ड प्रोडक्ट है, ऐसा नहीं है कोई अपने आप से कोई 200 गज की कोठी बना रहा है, तो रेरा रजिस्टर्ड प्रोजेक्ट। सो कैन वी एटलीस्ट
हाँ, मतलब today you can't start work unless the project is registered. Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that. You can start work, you can't sell. There is a difference between not starting work and not selling.
हाँ,
I can complete the entire building and not sell a
not
single
selling,
flat
right?
and not take RERA.
Unless
I'm
the
free to
RERA
do
pool
that.
is there.
नहीं, आई एम फ्री टू डू दैट। मैं पूरी बिल्डिंग बना सकता हूँ, मैंने एक भी फ्लैट नहीं बेचा, ठीक है, मेरा रेरा नहीं लिया, मुझे कोई रोक नहीं सकता।
हाँ,
बट
बट बेचने के लिए आपको रेरा का अप्रूवल चाहिए,
मुझे रेरा
राइट?
चाहिए, बेचने के लिए मुझे रेरा चाहिए। मैं सिर्फ इतना कह रहा हूँ कि रेरा रजिस्टर्ड प्रोजेक्ट है, मुझे ग्रैप में रोका ना जाए बनाने से, मुझे वो बनाने दिया जाए। कहीं ना कहीं वो एक पब्लिक गुड के लिए प्रोजेक्ट बना रहा हूँ, मैं अपने घर के लिए नहीं बना रहा हूँ, मुझे नहीं रहना उसके अंदर, ठीक है ना। सो these are some things which definitely can turn this affordable housing into something which is lucrative for a developer, और उसलिए काम कर पाएगा।
Great. No, I think very well quoted here, Kunalji, that there are certain initiatives which have been given to all the other sectors, be it infrastructure, be it hospitality, but when it comes to real estate, तो हमारे को अभी benefits नहीं मिल रहे हैं. So that's one reason, probably the developers are also facing a challenge. So it's not only that, it's a challenge only from the buyer side. हम developers अगर नहीं deliver कर पा रहे, तो we have our own set of challenges which we've been struggling with.
Yes.
So I think, we will like to close this with thoughts from Sanjay sir. Sanjay sir, आपने अभी दो डेवलपर जो कि probably real estate के perspective से काम करते हैं, उनके thoughts सुने. What are the challenges these guys have been facing? Pranay ji, who's been working a lot in the real estate side, he's done infrastructure, he's done real estate. You've heard his thoughts also. We would like to have closing statement from you on this sector overall and what is the way forward for this?
See, this has come very well in today's discussion. There is a big gap and there is a huge demand. The supply side has to match. Both for EWS and LIG in the lower affordable segment and in the otherwise general affordable segment where lower middle class or middle class would like to buy a house for his family. Now, if you don't address properly, developers have to understand, if you don't provide for LIG or an EWS, no family, howsoever rich or middle class, they can't run their show without a domestic help. Now, a domestic help cannot come from 10, 20, 30, 40 kilometers away. Now, if in an urban center, we don't provide some facility for the domestic helps, drivers and cooking staff, etc. And if you leave it leave it on them to fend for themselves, then you take it from me that beside a beautiful project, there would be a slum which would come up and it would hit the beauty of that area, that project or that locality. So it is always better. Like recently, I'd been to New York. So there I found that in every locality, they have made houses for EWS category where support staff like drivers and all, they stay.
They stay, right.
They stay. They are very decent and they have a campus, they have their boundary wall. So it's not very much visible from outside, but it does not overall destroys or damages the look of the locality. Or in India, we see this. You have a beautiful project, a beautiful colony or a township, and then around that you have slums. And when you travel and you see slums on people encroaching government lands or roads, and therefore, like in every project, there is a need for daily needs corner or a shop. So the building bylaws, they allow. So I think promoters will have to think of going in for LIG and EWS projects alongside their project. I have seen a recent project. I had stayed there for roughly 10 years when I was in Government of India. The new building in New Moti Bagh. There are type 7 houses, type 6, the lowest is type 6A. And then you have 7 and type 8 for ministers and senior judges of the Supreme Court and High Court. So there are type 6A, 7 and 8. But then there are 2 servants' quarter. One servant quarter is in the house itself, which generally are available in nowadays in the market, 3-bedroom plus servant, 4-bedroom plus servant. And there is one side colony for the servants, and with each flat there is one servant's quarter inside the house and one servant's quarter outside. So there is a segregation, but that is also a very decent studio apartment. So that sort of a thing will have to work.
Infrastructure is required, right?
That challenge is there, and therefore the opportunity is also there. And that gap we have to fill, because we can't leave this segment just because they are poor kids or to fend for themselves. So that we have to see. And yes, technological innovations will have to come. We will have to see how we use effective technologies so that the costing goes down and it comes within the range of affordability. If you make EWS project or LIG, if you raise the bar, but then there can always be an increase in price. So somewhere you will have to bring in some degree of sanity and fine tune it into around a figure or around a range where you ensure minimum quality standards as well as affordability.
True. No, very well said, sir. Thank you so much for your thoughts on this. And I'm sure, this would be, we all will be taking out a lot of interesting facts from you. And we really look forward to a lot of support from UPREDA as well as from the government overall for making affordable housing as a successful mission. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. And we definitely look forward to a lot more interaction in future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.